in this lesson we're going to make a fun little fox. And you're going to need a small canvas. And you're going to need some kind of paper, craft paper. This is a scrapbook paper. And I chose a dark color for the background. And this is going to be the color that I'm going to use to create my fox. Going to need some black paint and some white paint, and I chose a turquoise paint. You can make your fox any color that you want him to be. You just need to have a dark background with a lighter color for the top for the actual fox, and the black and the white paint, and another color that would look good with the colors that you've chosen. You're also going to need some Mod Podge, and this is going to help us to kind of glue this down. Okay, you need a pencil and you need a paintbrush. And hopefully you've already got all these things gathered together, because I'm going to have a list of it for you for your shopping before we start. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set our canvas to the side, and we're going to take our paper that we want our fox to be made from, and we're going to turn it over, and we're going to draw him on the back. So to draw the fox, it doesn't have to be exact. We just need 2 triangles for ears. Then we're going to connect the triangles like this, and then his head is going to also be in a triangular shape, so it's going to come to a point here and here. So you see we have a triangle here and a triangle here, and then his head is a triangle. And then for his body, we're just going to make one big U. Looks like the letter U. And then back here we're going to have his tail. And his tail is going to come to a point like this, and it's going to get bigger and then come back down like this. It looks sort of like a banana. Okay, so when we cut this out, we're going to have all these shapes that we're going to put on our canvas. Okay, so we're going to put him to the side for just a minute. Take your canvas and your background paper, and we're going to put this on here and make a cool background for our fox. Now our paper is bigger than our canvas, so we're going to have to tear it. You can just put it on there and then flip it over and just hold it down here and tear it across. Okay, and we're going to flip it around and do the same thing on this side. Hold your canvas down and start pulling on your paper. Make a little tear, and then sometimes it's not going to work too well. Keep pulling and tear those edges off. Alright, so I got a little rough edge right there, so I'm just going to straighten that up. And it's not exact, but it's okay. We'll fix that later. So the next thing you're going to need to do is take your Mod Podge and you can use a sponge or a brush, something like this. This is what I like to use. It's like a little spatula. You're going to put this all over the back of your paper. Just keep putting it on there until you get the whole thing covered. Then flip it over carefully, put it on your canvas, and start smoothing it out with your hands. If you've got some overlap where it's coming out over the edge, just smooth it down for now and we'll tear that off later. Try to get all the little bubbles out and try to straighten it up the best you can. Okay, so we got that on there. We're going to let that set for just a few minutes and dry a little bit, and we're going to work on our fox. Now I like to tear my edges because it gives it a neat look when you put it on the canvas, but you could use scissors if you would like to just cut it out. So what I'm going to do is start at the edge and just tear out the basic shape that I drew. And it's not going to be perfect when I tear things. I already know that ahead of time, and it's okay. But you want to tear out each shape. So right here I'm going to go around the edge of this and tear out this tail area first. So you could cut out the tail or tear it. Let's see, got that. Now I'm going to tear out this part right here that's his body. Sometimes it's easier to get these big chunks torn off so they're out of your way when you're working on the little areas. Okay, so now I'm gonna tear out right here where his body and his head meet. Okay, so go down this little edge right here. And there's this body. Now I'm going to do his head. Okay, so there's his head, and I'm going to get his ears. There's one. And here's the other one. So now he's all torn out and he's ready to go on our background. Let's put him to the side for just a minute and check on our background and see how it's doing here. We need to make sure that we smooth it out really well. So you can put one hand on the back and one hand on the front and rub on it, because sometimes there are going to be little wrinkles and bubbles in there. So let's get that as smoothed out as we can. And now we'll start adding him. And we're going to use our Mod Podge to do this too. We're going to start with, let's see, he's going to have his body, and his head's going to need to go on top of the body. And then we're going to have his tail that needs to be sort of tucked behind his body. So we're going to start with what's in the back. So that would be his tail. So we're going to start with his tail. And we're just going to put some more of this Mod Podge on the back of this. And then glue it down on the side over here. Smooth that out. Then next we're going to put down his body. So we need some more glue on the back of him. And we're going to put that, overlap it just a little bit over his tail, so it looks like his tail's behind him. Okay, I'm going to smooth that down. And then we'll do his head next. Some little bubbles may pop up underneath, so you have to go back with your finger and smooth it out. So we're going to do his head next. That smoothed down, and then we're going to add his ears. And we had one on each side. Let's see, maybe I've got them backwards here. Yeah. So one ear over here. Okay, so now we've got Mr. Fox all put together. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start adding some paint on here and help him come alive. Alright, so I'm going to put away my Mod Podge for now. And I'm just going to use a paper plate to squirt out some paint in. I may need to let this dry for just a few minutes. It doesn't take it very long to get dried and sealed up. While we're waiting on it to dry, see my edge down here? My paper is overlapping a little bit, so I'm just going to tear that off really carefully along the bottom. Just like that. Okay. Let's get our black paint out and some white paint. A little bit of turquoise paint. If you'll take a look, this shows you what it might look like if you used a different background and different paper for your fox. This one also has the head turned just a little bit, and all you have to do to make yours do this is instead of gluing it on straight, just turn it just a little bit and glue it on, and it looks like he's got his head turned a little bit to the side. So for girls, you may like to do something like this with some flowers, or boys may like the flowers too. But now we're going to get started with our paint. So I've got some black paint here and some white paint and a little bit of some turquoise paint. And we're going to start with our brush, and we're going to make his little tummy white right here. So we're just going to start here and paint down. And just make one little area right here in the middle. You may have to go over it a couple of times to get the paint thick enough to cover the paper, the pattern on your paper. You can do your background and the paper that you use for your fox in any patterns or colors that you would like. It just works best to have a darker, either have a darker paper for your fox or in a lighter background, or you could reverse it and have the dark background with a little bit lighter color for the fox. Okay, so right here we got his tummy done, and we're also going to do his eyes here. And what we want to do is we want to leave a streak right here in the middle for his nose. So what we're going to do is make something like this and come straight down right here. And we're going to do that on both sides. And just pull it straight down so that we leave this little area right here in the middle for his nose. And then we're just going to paint this area here, because this will be where his eyes are going to go, or her eyes, whichever you choose. Your fox can be a girl or a boy. Alright, and right here on the tip of the tail, I'm going to add some white there. Just pull it down and make a few little pieces that come down to a point. Just like that. It looks kind of like the snow on the top of a mountain. It's just coming down a little bit on each little point there. Okay, and then we'll put a little bit of white here in each ear. And I'm going to go back over this to try to get a good coat on there so you can't see that pattern paper behind it. I'm going to go over this part right here a little bit too. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some black paint and I'm going to go around the edges of this. So I need to rinse out my brush. And I'm going to take some black paint and I'm going to go around the edge where I painted the white. It might be easier for you to turn your canvas so that your hand doesn't get down in this area where you painted the fox tummy. Okay, go around this little tail area here. And now I'm going to go all the way around the whole thing with the black. So I'm going to start right here. I'm going to make a pretty good bold line. Alright, so now we've gone all the way around him with that black. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the end of my paintbrush and dip it in the black paint and make him a nose. Just kind of have a little circle. Just like that, and make his nose, and you're going to do the same thing with his eyes. Just make a little circle. Just move the end of that around and around. And to get a good bit on the end of your brush. And there you've got his eyes and his nose. I'm going to put a little bit of black right here where his ears are. Just make sort of a little bit of a triangle around that white that we put in there. And I'm going to put a few little lines of black right here, and right here, and right here. And also a couple right there on his tail. One more right there. Okay? Now I'm going to take a smaller brush and go back into the white, and then I'm going to go around where I've got this dark and bold black outline. Because my background is dark, I want the edge to be lighter so that he's going to really stand out. And you don't have to do this with yours if you don't want to. If you'd rather it just be the black outline, you can do that. Just leave it like it is. Put a little bit of white right there on the tip of his nose, and a little bit in each eye. Okay? And it depends on what you would like to do, whether you would like to do this or not. But I also use another color in the end of my brush again. And I put it in that bright color, whatever you want it to be. And I usually make some little dots. Just make random little dots in different places. And some can be smaller and some can be larger. But it just gives them a little bit of character. And it's fun making dots with your brush like this. Make these a little bit bigger. So you can put on his ear or on his tail, anywhere you would like to. We'll put a couple more right there. One more right there. And you can also put a little flower, if you want to do a flower coming up here in front of him or her, or you could put a flower up here on her head. Let's do one. Let's see, let's do one right here. You can just take your brush and make 5 little strokes that come out from the middle. It's 3, 4, 5. And take a little bit of your black paint and make a fun little wavy stem coming down like this. And then take the end of your brush again and dip it in the white and make one little dot in the middle for your flower. So if you wanted to do a flower up here on her head, or you could do a little crown of flowers, you could just do several of those across the top up here and link them together with a black stem if you would like to do that. But this is the basic way to make a cute little fox on a canvas. I hope you enjoyed creating this little fox with me, and if you make one of your own, I would love for you to share it with me. You can email a picture to me at artbyamandahilburn@gmail.com.